find sine 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, and tangent 2 theta. So we're going to have to use the double angle formulas. So we need to know double angle formula says sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cosine theta. So we know cosine theta is 15 over 17. We need to find out what sine theta is, so we can plug it into the formula. So since we're in quadrant 4, I'm going to draw a triangle that looks like it's in quadrant 4. And this would be our angle, our theta. So cosine's 15 over 17, so the adjacent is 15, hypotenuse is 17. We need to find out what the opposite side is. That is a Pythagorean triple. You could just use Pythagorean theorem and solve it out. You get 8. So that means that sine theta is 8 over 17. And since it's in quadrant 4, that also means that sine is negative. So sine 2 theta is 2 times negative 8 over 17 times cosine, which is 15 over 17, which is 240, negative 240 over 289. So that's sine 2 theta. Get cosine 2 theta. We need the formula. It says cosine squared minus sine squared. Cosine squared, so that's 15 over 17 squared, minus sine squared, which is negative 8 over 17 squared. So that's 225 over 289 minus 64, also over 289. Which is 161 over 289. And then tangent, the formula for tangent, 2 theta is 2 tangent theta over 1 minus tangent squared. Tangent, which is simple enough, it's just opposite over adjacent, so that'd be 8 over 15. And since it's in quadrant 4, tangent is negative. So that's 2 times negative 8 over 15 over 1 minus negative 8 over 15 squared. So to simplify this, multiply everything by the common denominator, which is 225. So we get negative 16 times 15 would be 240, negative 240. And the denominator would be 225 minus 64, which is 161. And there's tangent. You could have also, since we did sine and cosine, tangent is sine over cosine, so it would have been the negative 240 over 161 from the sine over cosine. So use the half angle formula for this one because 67.5 degrees is half of 135. So using the half angle formula, which is sine of u over 2 equals plus or minus, depending on the quadrant, 1 minus cosine over 2. So in this case, the u is 135. So this is plus or minus, and I guess we can actually just answer that right now. 67.5 is in quadrant 1. 67.5 degrees is quadrant 1, so sine, the answer will be positive. And then it's 1 minus cosine of 135, which is square root of 2 over 2. All over 2. So if we multiply everything by the denominator of 2 here, we get 2 minus the square root of 2 over 4, and that's a little bit more simplified. Going back, made a mistake on the sign right here. Cosine, that would be a negative, so it's minus a negative turns positive right there. So it's 2 plus square root of 2. Here we'll use the half angle formula again, because 5 pi over 8 is half of 5 pi over 4. So the half angle formula for cosine, cosine u over 2 equals plus or minus, again depending on the quadrant, the square root of 1 plus cosine all over 2. So 5 pi over 8, that's in quadrant 2, so cosine will be negative. And then the u that we are plugging in is 5 pi over 4. Oh wait, 5 pi over 8 is in quadrant, yeah, quadrant 2. So 5 pi over 4, the cosine value of that, that's square root of 2 over 2, and it's in quadrant 3, so it's also negative. So we get negative square root, clear the fractions by multiplying everything by 2, so we get 2 plus the square root of 2 all over 4. And on the last problem, I didn't do this, but the square root of 4 for the denominator, you could take that out of the square root. Almost made the same mistake as last time. This has a plus in the formula. I said this was negative square root of 2 over 2, but I wrote the wrong thing. Positive in the formula, and cosine of 5 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2, so it's plus a negative.